Hello everyone out there in YouTube land. I'm back with another video blog for this week. Only a couple days after my last one. Hey, I'm getting better. So this week I put a post on Facebook asking people what they wanted me to talk about, and the popular suggestion was my thoughts on the very difficult group stage that the U.S. men's national soccer team is going to have at the World Cup this year. Now, I know this isn't what I normally talk about on these sorts of things, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways. If you are not a fan of sports, don't worry, I am going to go ahead and tie this all back together. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the description below if you want to skip over the sports talk and get right to the nerdy shit. But don't worry, this all comes back to one central theme. Alright, so if you stuck around and you do follow soccer, or if you're just interested in the discussion, the U.S. men's national team this World Cup is going to be going into their initial group stage facing off against Ghana, Germany, and Portugal. Three teams that are better than they are. A lot of people are calling it the group of death, and a lot of people are saying that the U.S. men's team has little to no chance. I will agree that the chance is slim, but it's not impossible. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at their match against Germany coming up. Yeah, they're probably going to lose that one. Although, if they can get a tie out of it, then I think they're going to be doing pretty well in the overall group. Germany is a good team, but the U.S. men's team has proven that they can hang with the best in the world on occasion. They have a win over Spain at the Gold Cup a couple of years back, and every once in a while they can pull out a really impressive performance. Is Germany going to lose? Probably not. But a draw is possible. Alright, the next pairing is Portugal. Portugal has arguably the best player in the world, Cristiano Ronaldo, on their team, and that certainly says a lot. They have some other strong players on the team as well. They're definitely better than the U.S. men's team, but I think if the U.S. men's team keeps their heads together and works like a team, they'll be able to come away with this with at least a draw and maybe a win. And the third and final team in this group is Ghana. Now, Ghana was the team that knocked them out in the 2010 World Cup, but that was in overtime, and they'd each scored 2 goals apiece. I think this team going into this World Cup for the United States is a better team. What the hell? Construction work going on behind me. And it's not letting up, so I'm just going to go ahead and carry on. I do think that the U.S. men's team coming into this World Cup is better than the team that was going into the last World Cup. I also think that they have a better coach in Jurgen Klinsmann over Bob Bradley. So I think that this is the match they stand the best chance of winning. I think they should win this one, to be honest with you. Ghana's a good team, but I don't necessarily think that they're better than the U.S., and the U.S. kind of opened the door on them and let them in that the last game of the World Cup. So U.S. should definitely win this one. If they don't, then there really stands no chance they're getting out of this group. So if the U.S. can get 2 wins, I think they're going to be sitting pretty. If they get a win and 2 draws, it's going to be sketchy for them, but I think that they could still pull it out, and I think it's going to come down to goal differential at that point. Nonetheless, it's slim, yeah, but I think they can pull it off. And I'm going to be optimistic. Go U.S. Alright, the second part of this video calls for a change of venue. The construction noise in there was driving me crazy, and it probably was driving you crazy too. So all this talk about the U.S. men's team in soccer got me thinking about the subject of underdogs, which is a topic that is used frequently as a story device in comics and movies and TV as well. Now, the old saying goes that everybody loves an underdog, and that's certainly true. Some of the most popular characters in current pop culture could be considered underdog characters. Take a look at Spider-Man, definitely an underdog. The cast of The Walking Dead, you can argue that they're underdogs as well. There's plenty of them out there, and they're very, very popular in modern culture to the point where they're almost a trope, almost a stereotype, almost in danger of being overused. Now, when you write an underdog character, it manages to connect very well with people, because people generally see themselves as underdogs, regardless of the situation they're in. Somebody always has something being held over them that they're trying to work against, that they're trying to overcome, something bigger than themselves that they're trying to fight. However, there's a problem with writing an underdog character as well. The main problem is that while people want to cheer for the underdog and they desperately want the underdog to win, they very, very much don't want to see the underdog lose. Now, while that may seem like common sense, what I mean by that is that if people watch a story and the underdog doesn't manage to overcome the odds, then they're in danger of losing that person. They're in danger of losing the interest of the people who are cheering for that character. And what ends up happening is that your underdog character, especially if it's in a series that lasts a good amount of time, no longer becomes an underdog. And people are just assuming that he's going to beat everything, and it no longer becomes a story of how he's going to overcome the odds, but how the odds are going to be any different for him than they usually are, and then the stakes keep going up and up and up, and and then it just becomes more and more unrealistic as the underdog character has to overcome bigger and bigger things. Batman's a great example of this. Batman started off pretty much off in his own little world, in his own little bubble in Gotham City, fighting his own villains. Then once he started mingling with the Justice League, started dealing with cosmic entities and all sorts of incredibly big bad things, he had to get more and more ridiculous gear and more ridiculous skills to keep up with that power creep. And power creep is what it's called in video games, but I think it's a good term that's used here. It's when you have to keep upping the stakes gradually to keep people interested. Now, people often look back to the 60s Batman TV show, and they like to laugh at the memorable episode in which Batman used a shark repellent that he just happened to have on his belt against the shark that was attacking him. But in reality, if you look at the Batman character in just about any story, that's really not that far off. Pretty much everything he uses is some form of shark repellent or the other. The guy doesn't have any superpowers. He is mortal. He is as damageable as anybody else. But the thing is, he needs to concoct and come up with, get more and more ridiculous and more extravagant, the bigger thing he needs to fight. And because Batman has been going on so long as a character, the end result is you have somebody who used to be an underdog character is now a character that is really the all-powerful being. I mean, throughout comics, Batman has beaten virtually everybody, or at least in theory had a way of beating everybody, including all of the members of the Justice League, every single one of them infinitely more powerful than he is, but still, he manages to think of a way to beat them all because he's Batman. And then, as a result of that, the villains that Batman dealt with earlier when he was popular, i.e. namely the Joker, then become almost less and less realistic because Joker doesn't have any powers himself. He just has, you know, some military skills and anarchy on his side. When Batman's beaten things that can swallow the universe, that doesn't seem like that big of a villain, so then they have to increase Joker's power and give him more and more outlandish and ridiculous things that he is able to do in order to keep up with the power creep. Now, what's the solution to all of this, you might ask? Well, the answer's not going to be popular, especially not with people who like money, but in cases like that, where the underdog has just overcome so many odds to the point where they're effectively the all-powerful being now in whatever universe they reside in, because they've overcome so many challenges that have escalated more and more, the answer is for that character to die. Now, maybe they don't need to necessarily die in general, and when I mean die, I mean stay dead, but it doesn't even need to be death. It could just be that he's beaten, that he faces something that he just can't overcome and can't bound back from. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up, but seriously, venue change number 2. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this week, but not before some VA Comics news. Work on Project X is coming along nicely. I passed about half of the script on to the artist who has started to work on that, and it's coming along very, very well. Very excited for that. Stake Center issue 1 is coming along swimmingly as well. Joe and Reggie are working diligently, and we're going to bust our asses to try and get that out at the Memorial Day deadline. I'm going to level with you. It may not come out on Memorial Day, but it won't be very long after. We're making some good progress. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not we can get everything done in time and send it to the printers and get it ready as soon as possible. But it's coming very soon, I promise. In convention news, there is the Syracuse PowerCon this weekend, which we are trying very hard to get into right now. We haven't heard anything back from them. We did hear that there was some spots available. We're looking into that further. It was kind of a last-minute thing, as I'm actually going to be in New Hampshire on Saturday for something not comic-related. But I want to be back and go to that convention in Syracuse on Sunday the 18th. It's up in the air right now, but if you stay tuned to our Facebook pages and our Facebook page and Twitter page, as well as our website, we'll give you some info on that. So if you're in the Syracuse area, head down, buy some comics, say hello, and hang out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am out of here. Time to check on my money sink of a car. I think I'm going to do another one in a couple of days. I have one that's been in the back of my brain that I've been thinking about doing for a while. Maybe I'll save it for next week, but I'm feeling pretty froggy, so you might see another one of these later on in the week. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you think of any other underdogs you want to talk about in the world of comics, or if you have any disputes as far as my ideas of underdogs being used as a writing technique, be sure to leave those in the comments below. Like I said, if you like this video, you want to see more of them, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. It takes no time at all to do so, and it helps me out a lot, so I would appreciate it if you do that. And if you want to see these videos regularly, be sure to subscribe. That helps me out as well, and then you'll get to see all these as soon as they come out. Thank you again, and see you soon.